Supported by the NASA SEAS program, we research autonomous search and rescue using drone multi-sensor fusion and convolutional neural networks. Hi, my name is Nathan D'Souza, and I'm a rising senior at Maggie L. Walker Governor's School.
Hi, my name is Kaavya Rajarathnam, and I'm going into my senior year at Clear Springs High School.
Hey there everyone, my name is Ekrem. I'm a rising junior at Harmony School of Innovation, Schilder.
Hello, my name is Martinez and I'm a rising junior at White County High School.
Hello, my name is Penelope Alexandris and I'm a rising senior at Lindale High School.
Hi, my name is Matan. I'm a rising senior and I go to Eastlake High School.
Search and rescue missions can be very dangerous and difficult for first responders. Our project, AeroSAR, dives into how drones and AI can help make these missions optimized. We combine a convolutional neural network to detect targets, drone sensor data to map the terrain, and path planning algorithms to create a system that assists rescuers. Although our system is still a simulation and has some limitations, it demonstrates the potential of AI-assisted search and rescue.
Search and rescue missions are made cheaper, easier, and more efficient with the use of drone technology. Due to the advanced search capabilities when equipped with cameras and sensors that improve situational awareness for first responders in complex environments. The drone we had access to complete our project were the Co-Drone EDU, the Blue Heron, and the Holystone 360D. We tested out the capabilities of each drone to reduce research time and optimize resources. The drone EDU has multiple sensors including a gyroscope, body range, color sensor, and etc. Both the Blue Heron and the Holystone have aerial photo and video capturing. After testing, we decided to use the Holystone for our final research due to its higher quality imaging and camera mode. We also tested the payload capacity and weather resistance of each drone. Our goal is to simulate an autonomous multi-drone search and rescue system in a 10 by 10 foot search area, capable of locating a missing person, mapping the surrounding environment, and providing navigation information to assist first responders on the ground.
We faced a multitude of different limitations throughout our engineering process. First being the Blue Heron's 15-minute battery life. That was an issue when running multiple CNN trials back to back. The Blue Heron is marketed as an outdoor drone, but is very susceptible to wind, and it caused the flight path to be very ambiguous and hard to control. And all three drones, the Co-Drone Blue Heron and the Holystone 360D, aren't made to carry payloads. So attaching sensors or a robotic arm wasn't a viable option for our mission. And additionally, the color sensor on the Co-Drone, which we wanted to use for autonomous target recognition, turned out to only work when the drone had been landed. So those are some of the limitations we faced.
Our system follows 4 main steps. First, a simulated missing person scenario is created. Next, the Holystone HS360D drone captures images that are analyzed by a convolutional neural network to detect a target. Then, the Co-Drone EDU collects elevation data to help map the surrounding terrain. Lastly, all of this information is combined to generate the most efficient walking route for first responders using the AeroSAR pathfinding algorithm.
A key component to this autonomous search and rescue mission is the use of machine learning, so the target is detected without a human's vision. We used a convolutional neural network, aka a CNN model, which was trained using pictures from one of the drones we had access to. We utilized the single sensor of the Blue Heron drone and took pictures of a 1 foot by 1 foot red square. We also took pictures when the red square wasn't in the frame, partially in the frame. A high volume of about 100 pictures in all, diverse in the 3 types of pictures the model needs, is crucial for the machine learning model to train and begin to identify the red square when the square shows up in a live video from the drone.
A convolutional neural network utilizes a camera to be our eyes in the sky after being met with the limitations of the Co-Drone's color sensor. The YOLO library was chosen because it is traditionally used for real-time object detection. The training images have boxes drawn around what the model is being trained to detect. Each image has a corresponding text file with the ID number that tells what the target is, and the dimensions of where the target bounding box is located. These files are then called by code and a trained system is stored. The more and diverse images the system is trained on, the more accurately it will be able to detect a target. Using the trained model, the top code is used to detect a target within an image. This target location will be given to the optimized path. The graph location of the target is found by converting the center pixel location of the bounding box to a center point. Because search and rescue is time sensitive, feeding the information by video would be faster, and this code is shown in the bottom code.
The data collection and mapping code utilizes the Co-Drone's internal optical flow and bottom range sensors to map the search area. Data on the X, Y, and Z position of the drone is collected every half a second within a while loop. Once the drone lands, we use the Python package matplotlib to create elevation maps from the lists of data. These scatter plots portray the X and Y points on the X and Y axes, with the color representing the terrain height. I tested this software by firstly holding the drone and manually moving it, and then tested a coded flight path. These made me realize I needed to modify the display coordinate plane due to the co-drone's internal coordinate system being different from a typical Cartesian coordinate system. After this, I finally tested the drone flying over varying terrain, being objects of different heights, to ensure that the map would reflect the terrain.
PID, or proportional integral derivative, reflects the three terms of the equation: the proportional term, the integral term, and the derivative term, and it's just one aspect of how drones stabilize themselves during flight. As you can see, the proportional part is composed of E of t, which is equal to the set point minus the measured value, multiplied by kp, which is a scalar. The integral part is composed of the integral gain, ki, multiplied by the integral of E of t. The integral of E of t is the accumulation of errors made by the drone. The derivative portion is equal to kd, or the derivative gain, multiplied by the derivative of E of t with respect to time, which predicts how error is changing to help reduce overshooting. The output is the control signal, which determines the direction and power that the motor should produce. With the rise of AI and autonomous decision-making, other models such as Model Predictive Control, MPC, are being explored for better results. The stabilization from PID allowed the HS360D to much more accurately collect Z height data.
The co-drone has an automatic response in which it uses the bottom range sensor to remain at a certain altitude at all times, being around 0.8 meters. This results in our mapping data being inaccurate since the co-drone is unable to remain at a constant elevation when flying over objects of various heights, simulating varying terrain. We performed a lot of trial and error, trying to implement any and all solutions to this issue. Stabilizing code we tried, including 2 that used the barometer to get height from pressure, 1 that measured z-axis acceleration to adjust the flight path, and more. Eventually, we came to the conclusion that none of these solutions were effective enough, due to the co-drone's delayed reaction time, for us to continue with our planned concept of operations. So we had to pivot. We decided to attach the co-drone to the HS360D to effectively collect the sensor data on a stable flight path. This meant that our data collection was no longer autonomous, but it was much more accurate and therefore usable for the optimization code.
In order to collect data, we first set up a terrain with a 10 by 10 foot grid, with obstacles scattered throughout the grid with height differences such that the drone sensors would be able to detect a significant change in height. Once the co-drone collected the data, a resulting graph was produced like the middle image. It can be seen that the drone can correctly determine where the obstacles are, with some human error as shown on the right of the graph. Finally, the data collected was put into an algorithm that extracted the data and determined which spots had obstacles. The resulting grid had some obstacles show up that were not there initially, indicating that it was overassuming where obstacles were. After all of the data was collected and converted, we used the AeroSAR algorithm in order to find the best route from the starting point to the location of the red square. Unlike a normal algorithm that expands outwards in all directions, AeroSAR uses a heuristic which keeps into account the distance of the endpoint from the current location, so that routes that lead away from the final point are not as prioritized. The estimated cost of the algorithm is expressed as the equation on the right, which is f of n is equal to g of n plus h of n, where f of n is the estimated cost of the path, which gets more and more accurate as the algorithm advances. G of n is the path cost on the temporary path that it is on, and h of n is the heuristic cost. The image on the bottom right shows what the output of the algorithm for this scenario will look like.
How can our research be further applied? Our autonomous search and rescue drone system is designed to assist emergency responders by rapidly searching and mapping disaster areas and locating missing persons. Drones provide pipeline inspection that replace hazardous, expensive manual patrol and helicopter flights to scan miles of search area in just hours. This technology can be used in various fields other than search and rescue as well though. Some fields that could use drone mapping and location technology include agriculture, construction, and disaster response. The basic idea of combining camera sensing, machine learning, and sensor data with multiple machines, in this case drones, is incredibly versatile. Locating and mapping failing crops for irrigation, mapping a construction site to locate areas of rough terrain, and mapping rubble and locating damage points after a disaster are just a few examples of the possible applications of our research.
Overall, our results show that when running multiple simulations in a 10 by 10 foot search area, the CNN showed an average confidence level of about 70% and would find its target. But there were several limitations. such as the hardware and computing power of the code drone, as well as the need for a larger dataset for training. Nevertheless, our results suggest that computer vision, sensor fusion, and path planning can aid future search and rescue operations.
As I expected, SEAS gave me fantastic opportunities to learn from great people and connect with others who share my passion for engineering and space research. However, I wasn't expecting to make lifelong friends during this internship. Despite our short time together, I've grown close to many of my fellow interns and will miss the time I spent at UT and the CSR dearly because of them. SEAS expanded my critical thinking skills and forced me to troubleshoot and think through challenges I had never faced before. I'm beyond grateful for this experience and my mentors and peer mentors who pushed me to my best abilities.
SEAS has broadened my horizons in so many ways by giving me invaluable exposure to people, resources, places, and information. For this project, I had to really step outside of my comfort zone since I don't usually code. However, with the help of my peers and my mentors, I was able to learn so much about Python and successfully write and execute many complex scripts I never thought I'd be doing. This experience, as well as the opportunity to work at and tour UT Austin, has helped me solidify my plans to pursue mechanical engineering and robotics. Being exposed to so many interesting applications of these fields of study has made me so excited for what the future holds.
That one email that made me have the best moments in my life, meaning all my peers had taught me, even though we come from different parts of the nation, we all have something in common, love for engineering. My mentors and peers had impacted my life with such memories and knowledgeable advice, knowing how to create a high-end research project with such great resources, leaving my comfort zone to talking to people and making lifetime friends around the nation, leaving my career more secure than before, knowing what to do. Thank you, SEAS, for all the fun times and friends you gave me.
SEAS has been such an incredible experience. I had the opportunity to conduct real scientific research with amazing mentors and friends, strengthen my engineering skills, and enjoy lots of great food. Although we faced many obstacles throughout our project, we worked together to overcome them and advance our research. Most importantly, I will never forget the memories I made with my friends, such as eating ramen late at night while working on our project. I hope more students have the opportunity to experience this program and continue sharing its impact with others.
SEAS has really changed the view I have on how research is done. I've learned how to communicate with my peers and mentors on a project that is on a larger scale than what I've previously done. I've also learned and been exposed to what the college experience might look like, on a small scale at least, and I've had the amazing opportunity to visit and learn more about the research and projects that are conducted at UT Austin, both in the aerospace and robotics school. SEAS has made my junior year summer unforgettable with all the people I have met and things that I've experienced.
I learned that project options are limitless. Prior to SEAS, I was always at a loss for starting coding projects, but helping code a convolutional neural network, I saw that there are multiple available resources to help with brainstorming and troubleshooting.
A big thanks to Margaret Baggio, our SEAS director, Selena Miller, our project manager, Garth Likens, our mentor, Jessica Schilder, our assistant mentor, Adam Noakes, our project guide, Melissa Poor, the Taser mentor, and Ignacio Duran, our peer mentor. Thank you.